It's now been 10 years since former President Barack Obama introduced DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, protecting all eligible immigrants who came to the U.S. younger than 16 years old from deportation. But today, the future of DACA recipients remain uncertain, and they're calling for action on immigration reform. For more on this, let's bring in ABC News contributor Maria Elena Salinas. So, Maria Elena, let's talk about DACA. I mean, roughly 830,000 eligible young adults can work lawfully, attend school, plan lives without the constant threat of deportation. So where do we stand now, a decade later, with this program?
Well, it is the 10th anniversary of DACA, but the journey for the Dreamers has been so much longer. The first draft of the DREAM Act was in 1999, and it was introduced as a bill in 2001, and there have been several attempts since then to legalize the so-called Dreamers, but it's failed each time. So as we know, DACA happened in absence of immigration reform. The Obama administration attempted to provide some kind of relief through executive order, and he created DACA, basically protecting these young undocumented immigrants from being deported, but it wasn't permanent. It needs to be renewed every 2 years. So basically they are on legal limbo for now, and they're being used as a political football. So their future is once again in the hands of the court. On July 6th, the case will go on appeal after a judge in Texas declared that DACA was unlawful. This isn't the first time. So there's not much hope really that it will succeed, for Dreamers, which means that they would no longer be able to continue renewing their status.
So Biden has reaffirmed that the government's commitment is there when it comes to this policy. But this Monday, as you know, the Supreme Court ruled non-citizens can be detained indefinitely under federal immigration law. So how does it connect to permanent immigration reform, or both DACA recipients and non-DACA recipients? Well,
basically what that means is that immigrants don't get their day in court, and this pertains to those who are detained awaiting deportation. What is odd is that the case in question was that of a man whose asylum request had been deemed credible, yet he still has to remain detained until a judge decides to hear the case. And with the existing backlog in the immigration process, it could take a long time. But there was something that Justice Sotomayor said, that she wrote in the opinion briefing, which was that the federal government is free to provide bond hearings, she wrote, and but it's not required to do so by the statute in question. So they can still have a hearing, but the courts aren't obliged to provide those hearings for them. Also, let me remind everyone that crossing the border without the proper document is a misdemeanor. Yet, the conditions in immigration detention centers are much worse than prisons that are housing dangerous criminals around the country.
Finally, just kind of put it in perspective for us. Why is getting DACA inked into federal law permanently so important for immigrants, especially right now, seeking a good future here in the U.S.?
Right. It's important, but not just for DACA recipients, but for all law-abiding immigrants who have lived in this country for years and who have established roots here. And for DACA recipients, they're not just seeking a future in the U.S. It's their past, it's their present. There's young people who were brought here when they were children, when they were very young. It's the only country that they know, the only one where they have been educated in and are giving back. So they need this country, and the country needs them as well. There are hundreds of thousands of DACA recipients that have contributed so much to this country. They're outstanding citizens. More than 200,000 of them were essential workers, that kept the country going and kept the country safe during the pandemic. So their contributions need to be recognized. So it's important for them, but not just for them, for their families, and for the 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country.
Maria Elena Salinas, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Kira.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.